Yeah, interesting. Like usually it's not that difficult, but it wouldn't be Rising Empires without some technical issues. When Cal's not around, there's always gonna be some trouble. Um, but we should be ready to jump into it right now. Um, and it is gonna be Relic River. Papercut playing the Ayyubids in purple. On the right side, against Downfall playing the Knights Templar, one of the new variant civilizations, um, in in cyan, teal, on the left side. So interesting map, new to the map pool, new to the game in general. Interesting layout with the cliffs here, with the waterfall, which I don't know if it's on every map, but you can actually go up here. Like I've seen that with a scout one time. That's really weird. Like maybe it was just this one spawn. Um, but yeah, interesting map and interesting opening. Knight Templar starting with the dock here on this little river here, so you can get a little bit of fish here. No deep water fish, obviously, um, but there's some fish to be had.
Yeah, not really a surprise coming out from KT. One thing that's been consistent in players' evaluation of KT is that it's really good on water, and part of that is the wood mechanic. You get a 20% bonus drop off from your wood gathering villagers. So you can gather wood to make the ships while also getting a 20% food bonus as well. So it sort of benefits the Civ to go on water early.
Yeah, and I mean water it did get a little bit of a nerf, but it's still very strong to go for that, and it's kind of like a budget second town center early on in Dark Age, so it's never wrong to do that. Um, and also the interesting thing, so with the Knights Templar, one of their like biggest things in like how they're gonna be played is that they are gonna go for the safe passages to get the pilgrims on the way. And so you can choose one of the sacred sites. You can see them, by the way, from the start. So immediately you do see the sacred sites. It's a little bit bugged out here, but you do see the sacred sites and the relics. And so you choose one of them. And so since this is most likely gonna be his, or I guess from like gold standard, he will go for this one here in terms of value. But it's good to establish some kind of control here already early on. So definitely a good choice to expand on that. And we do see economic wing growth coming out here again. So no desert raiders for now. Instead, it's gonna be some additional villagers, as well as with the ore cards being a little bit more valuable here. So curious opener here for Ayyubids.
Yeah, usually Ayyubids goes straight for they kind of go right for the berries.
Yeah.
So I wonder what Papercut's kind of cooking in that department. He just started straight on sheep.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to start on the sheep if you're planning to go on the berries later, and it is transitioning now since it's on the way here already. Um, dropping the lumber camp here first and then changing to the mill. We've all been there. I love that. So yeah, but I mean, in terms of he's not gonna put out some aggression. I would have imagined that the Desert Raiders would have been really nice to go against the Pilgrims.
Yeah, he's going for the eco wing here. I wonder if he's just thinking some sort of fast castle timing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But eco wing is not usually the feudal option of choice here. Typically, you'll get dervishes. Sometimes you'll get military wing. So I want to see kind of where he goes with this, as it's just not very common to see this sort of opening from Ayyubids.
Yeah, definitely not super common, I would say. I would agree with that. But yeah, it gives a nice little eco boost, which against the Knights Templar, it's a French variant civilization, but you still don't have the increased gather rate, and you kind of also lose out on villager production when you're going for the age up or with the safe passage. It's only 10 seconds, but still. Um, and the upgrade, which I always forget the name of that. And so it is nice to have some additional villagers right away, and then again having more valuable berry bushes as well. But question is, what is he going to choose next? It does look like a fast castle play with the outpost on gold, just securing this area here. And he is gonna face some kind of standard French opening here with the Kingdom of France. 5% reduced gold cost as well as 15% faster production. So definitely leaning towards a good classic French stable opener. Doesn't have to have Royal Knights, just a Chevalier Confrère, so cheaper, cheaper knights, but still heavy cavalry.
Knights Templar, the caster's curse right here. Always difficult to pronounce a lot of their special units. This Confrère is a little bit behind only because of the dock opening, but the dock opening is going to allow Downfall a lot of tempo to sort of stay in Feudal Age, apply a tremendous amount of pressure if that's what Downfall wants to choose against Papercut and his Castle Age Ayyubids. We're probably a minute away from seeing Papercut's Age 3 choice. I would imagine it's probably military wing reinforcements after seeing these Confrères come out.
Yeah, it definitely does make sense, and I would also expect the military wing. I mean, you could also always go for advancement wing if you're planning for a fast imp or something, which I guess would be his downfall. No pun intended. um, Ka would have loved that moment for sure. By the way, the pilgrims going to the middle sacred side here, so not complete on the 130 gold here. So he would have a little bit more value if he chose the top sacred side. They would, I mean, they would also walk a little bit further, but that's fine. It's a little bit like traders, you know, the more they walk, the more value they provide. But he has 2 already, so he did go for the second tech already. And is now just on the deer here. So no pro scouts. Pro scout matter has officially been retired, I would say. And it is a logistics, by the way, cultural logistics coming up. So the dervishes probably potentially looking to secure the relics for now. And also maybe the sacred sites, because the interesting thing is, if you're securing the sacred site, if you're capturing it, the pilgrims can still walk there, but they don't provide any gold. So you can actually prevent that gold income by capturing the sacred site. So it's a win-win situation, basically, if you're going for the sacred sites.
Yeah, I'm a little curious, because he's going to get 3 dervishes instead of the standard 2. If he flipped the script and opened with dervishes, he'd have 5 additional villagers. I think you get 8 from the Castle Age up.
Yeah, or a 7. I think it's 7. I'm not. I never remember. It's like either 7 or 8. But yeah, something like that.
So he'd have a few more villagers, but his timing would be a little bit behind because the 3 villagers he got in Feudal did contribute towards the fast age up timing. And this is sub 9 minutes. This is really good. I see the stables coming down, so I'm guessing we're going to get some Camel Lancers and maybe a couple Desert Raiders to kind of kite these spears that are on the sacred site. There are the 3 dervishes kind of making their way out, and they're going to go looking for all of the relics. Papercut has scouted 4 of the relics. The 5th one is in the middle of the map. He hasn't scouted that one just yet. But all 3 of these dervishes kind of going out just by themselves undefended, but they heal so fast the Confrère can't really do any significant damage. So Papercut gonna collect a couple relics here, and Downfall really sharp timing there with Castle Age coming in for him as well. Taking a look at what option he went with, and it looks like I will have to double check that, and we're all still kind of figuring this out.
Yes, it's a
2 relics.
I just forgot the complete name, but it's Republic of Genoa. That's the name. And so pilgrims generating 30% more gold, but you also get access to the to the specific, if you would have an archery range already. So it's kind of like the crossbowman, but the better version, which is gonna play super good into the camel lancers. So just from the landmark, it's not landmark, but like from the age of choices, I really like Downfall's decisions right now with the crossbows, in combination to now having access to the Templar brothers, which are already in queue. He will have a very strong unit composition here. Very soon, actually.
Nice turnaround from Papercut, cleaning up those spears there with his camel lancers, and not worried about them getting hurt that much because these dervishes will heal them up in time. We do have the Templar brothers hitting the field, so that is the Knights Templars knight, if you will. Very powerful unit, a little bit more HP than your traditional knight unit, coming in at 275 instead of the normal 230. They do cost a little bit more, but with the reduced cost from going with France in Feudal Age, they're not that much more expensive. Templar brothers coming down on these villagers, trying to get this tower up, and Papercut pulling them back in time, rushing the Camel Lancers over to defend, but he's going to lose a couple villagers here. Camel Lancers charges connect, and for now, Downfall is turned around, and he can finish this outpost so he can get access to that food, but little by little, Downfall is getting a slight edge here. He's getting Templar brothers, he's getting spears, Papercut's adding in some archers, and only has 3 relics due to the sharp timing from Downfall's Castle Age.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have a race for the last relic, and it looks like Papercut is just going to sneak in there because the Dervish is slightly faster. It's a 4-1 relic game.
Yeah, which is not super surprising. If you're going for the culture win, you have 3 dervishes on the field. They're faster, obviously, than, they're cavalry units, so they're faster than the monks. So, you should get a couple relics. Nice, the Templar Blooders here in the berry bushes here, getting a couple nice pickoffs here. 5 villager kills so far for Downfall, so he is at a slight advantage here. And one thing to note also about the Templar Brothers is they do get some interesting, that's the other one, they do get a charge bonus damage, depending on the number of heavy cavalry units. So the more they get in numbers, the more powerful they can initially hit you. So you need to be very careful. The Camel Lancers, on the other hand, are very good at deflecting some of the, or decreasing some of the damage here. But still, I think good units overall, and if we now see a couple crossbows as well. No Genoese crossbowman as of yet, so not opting for the unique crossbow unit.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a hurry to make Genoese crossbowmen over traditional crossbowmen right now, only because they're significantly more expensive, and presently there's no real advantage to them. They do bonus damage versus melee infantry. They do have high damage, base damage, lower attack rate than normal crossbowmen, but he is not facing any melee infantry at this point in time, so regular crossbowmen will suffice.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. I mean, I just probably would spend them, or use them without spending too much thought on if that would be the best choice, or if you'd rather go for a different option here. Lancer too late here to prevent the pilgrims from getting the gold here. Basically, as soon as they reach the circle, yeah, it is too late. Dervish will be able to capture this, at least in theory. Needs to run for his life now. So Downfall very good with the aggression here, not giving too much leeway here for Papercut, and building up some nice Templar army here as well. It's 10 Templar brothers on the field, pushing down a fortress here as well. so securing this sacred site for the time being, at least. Also increasing the number of pilgrims by 1 per fortress. So that's also a very nice way to increase your passive income. It's kind of funny with the Templars, I think. Basically, you're going for the stone to increase your gold income, which, you know, seems weird at first, but that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, so we have the first fortress coming up. So for Knights Templar, these fortresses act as a pseudo landmark, which kind of gives an interesting dynamic to the Civ. Is they could actually be landmark sniped with just their town center until they start getting fortresses up. And as you kind of see here, the first one's coming up at 15 minutes. So it creates like a really interesting early win condition versus Knights Templar. If you're fast enough, if you're aggressive enough, nice little raid on the berries. Downfall is staying aggressive, picking off some Camel Lancers, picking off a couple of archers right here, and I think Papercut is going to need to transition into some crossbowmen because these veteran archers are not going to help against those Templar brothers.
Yeah, needs to cancel the town center here as well. As you can see, super beefy guys here doing a ton of damage, and the archers not really doing a whole lot here. I'm not even sure exactly why he went for the archers. I mean, he did see there were a couple of spearmen here from Downfall, but not enough, I would say, to justify that many archers. Now moving a little bit more into the crossbows.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing for Papercut in this situation is Downfall has the South Sacred Site pretty much locked down. Papercut doing a good job making sure he doesn't get Sacred Site victoried, but these pilgrims are going to start flowing. They are a huge boon, economically speaking, for Knights Templar, and there's not really an avenue to stop them at this point.
Yeah, not really. Not really. I mean, the thing is, one pilgrim on full range basically provides, I believe it's like about 100 gold per minute. It's probably a little bit more now if you're having the upgrades. And so if you're talking about, you know, a couple like 4, 5, 6 pilgrims, you get them for free. They just, you know, trickle out from the Templar brothers headquarters and provide. So basically, you have like 500, 600 passive gold income just without doing anything. And we can see that, by the way, with his income close to 900 gold, his 5 on gold, 1 relic, 1 sacred site. So not a whole lot, and still a very healthy gold income for Downfall.
Yeah, so pilgrims spawn every 60 seconds, so if each pilgrim gives you, let's say, 172, which is what it kind of looks like Downfall is getting from each pilgrim, that's 172 gold per minute. Times that by his current 3 pilgrims, or it's 160 going to the South Sacred Site, and 166 on some others. Interesting. I wonder why there's a disparity between those.
Well, because they spawn at different spots. That's the interesting thing. Like some spawn in the front and some in the back, and the ones in the back they provide more gold. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if that's like super intentional, but that's why they provide differing amount of gold here. And we can see the UI as well, having a little bit of a difference here. But still, so it's a very good. Probably about 150 gold per minute per pilgrim, and if you don't shut that down, it's gonna be very difficult to deal with them, especially in the combination with the minus 5% gold cost for your units, and then the insane amount of unique units that the Knights Templar have at their disposal, which I feel makes it pretty difficult to deal with them, because you never 100% surely know what you're gonna run into. I mean, at some point you do know, but yeah.
Yeah, kind of looking at this, Knights Templar, a little bit of a powerhouse in this sort of format, chasing down the last of those Camel Lancers up north, just because they don't need a second TC. Papercut needs 2 TCs to kind of keep up with their eco. Another Camel Lancer trying to decap the Sacred Site down south. It goes down to the fortress. So Papercut, even though he has 4 relics, he's not generating anywhere near the same amount of gold that Downfall is.
Yeah, I mean, for relics, that's 320 gold per minute. That's kind of nice, but yeah, it doesn't really have any villagers on gold right now, and so um, a little bit limited. I mean, his food income is really good, you know, compared to the Knights Templar. So um, I do wonder what he's gonna do with that. And the two town centers are a good thing since he killed or he lost a little bit, a couple more villagers than the French, than the Knights Templar. So Downfall is also going for the second town center, which at some point I think makes sense with the Knights Templar, just because you lose a little bit of production time when you're going for the upgrades and all that from the headquarters.
Yeah, it looks like Downfall here has sort of settled on, I'm going to look for a Sacred Site victory here. He's fortressing up all 3 Sacred Sites, and now he's moving down to the middle to sort of... I mean, now he has all 3 Sacred Sites, actually, so he's going to just start that clock. 9 minutes, 48 seconds. Papercut needs to make a decision here, needs to commit, and try to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, with the fortresses, he pretty much got the sacred sites locked under his control, and Papercut is looking like he is moving out, trying to push in. He has a couple of Springles, actually, so a lot of archers here. Again, I think way too many archers. I'm not sure what he wants to do with that, and Ayyubids also don't have the oh, what's it called? The abyss attack. The cross... No, not crossbows. Why is
Composite bows?
Composite bows, that was... Thank you, that was it. So it's just a regular archer. It's not even like the, you know, improved version. And so I don't... I mean, where's Downfall's army right now? It's moving in from the top here. He's protecting his base with another fortress. But for now is not actually looking to engage with that fight.
I don't think Downfall needs to engage right now. He wants to get his fortresses up. He kind of knows that Papercut's on a timer. Papercut is the one who needs to come to Downfall. So Downfall can be a patient hunter here. He can continue to reinforce all his productions here. He has defender's advantage, and he can wait till maybe, you know, the fight looks a little bit more advantageous him. If Papercut committed before, I think Downfall would have won, but Downfall had no reason to commit. He could have forced Papercut to come in, fight under the fortress, fight under the town center. He didn't need to take that fight, and he didn't. It was very smart of him.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I was just, like, at first it seemed a little bit curious to me, but it totally made sense as you explained it. And yeah, he's dropping one fortress down here in the base, then another one more in the front, securing the little bit of gold that is left here, as well as with the front of his base. And so yeah, he doesn't really need to commit right now, and he could just wait it out a little bit. 7.5 minutes for the sacred victory if it comes to that. And with the fortresses, he will have a very comfortable position to defend this. Not really any meaningful siege in a way. On Papercut side, one trap in Q, so that would bring down the fortress, but that's still a beefy boy, 5,000 health, so it's not super easy to get it down. And we're on 5 fortresses so far, which I believe is like 7 pilgrims, right? Should be 7 pilgrims.
It's 2 plus the number of fortresses.
Yeah.
With current upgrades.
Yeah, so that's very nice and healthy income. And so even though his food income right now is actually really low, he can still make it work just by, getting for some siege and provide pumping out the units that he can. And we finally see the Genoese crossbowmen on the field. So now it's their time to shine. And actually, Papercut is being pushed away a little bit. He was in aggression and on the offensive, and now he's walling himself in, which will probably not be the winning strategy in the long term. So he kind of needs to make something happen here.
Yeah, I don't think Downfall really minds seeing this stone wall. He had a really good raid swinging around, picking up a couple villager kills.
Mm.
But stone walls indicate like siege warfare. You're gonna dig in. We have Papercut's first trebuchet starting to work on this middle fortress here. So a little kind of diversion. Bait the army down south. Start trebbing the middle fortress, if you will. Downfall is repairing with 8 villagers. So Papercut's going to need a couple more trebuchets. You do have the stone walls coming up right around that sacred site for Papercut, so he wants to just hide and protect his trebuchet so it can continue just hucking rocks at this fortress. But the interesting thing is, if we're talking trebuchets, Knights Templar, absolutely the trebuchet civ. Not really Ayyubids. They get trebuchet emplacements. So if you really want to have a treb war, Knights Templar seems like the wrong fight to pick in that department.
Yeah, absolutely, and the range on that big boy is insane. So with the fort with emplacement trebuchet, you actually outrange, I would say, anything, like everything else, maybe except for the Weiwei power of the Mongols. But that's that's a different story. But other than that, it's pretty much like outranges everything. And we do have the Kingdom of Poland coming up, so the Slachta cavalry coming up, so the very strong and very beefy cavalry getting added to the arsenal of the Knights Templar. So very heavily cavalry leaning military wing on the other side coming up not too far after that, and so neither player really wants to commit right now to a big fight here, but they kinda are forced to, I guess.
Yeah, Downfall, real cheeky, takes his mangoes up, starts attacking that trebuchet with mangoes because they can shoot over a wall like that. But Downfall doesn't want to commit. He wants to wait for his elite upgrades to come in. Papercut right here must understand it's now or never. Commits all of his forces into this fight. He's going to make a push here before Downfall has a chance to get those upgrades. Downfall is kiting backwards. And here we go. Lancers on Templar Brothers. Manjanique's firing across the back there, into the back line. Springolds firing into the Templar Brothers, and this front line is holding for Downfall. Downfall's front line has held. Last Templar Brother right there, and I think with that, Papercut is going to have a little bit of a trouble pushing in, and GG gets called.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw that it, like, overall, all things considered, it went fairly well for Papercut, but the archers didn't do anything basically. Like, hardly did anything in terms of damage, and so that was just like, in terms of numbers and value and all that, I think it was fine. Um, but it was just like, if you had, yeah, something else other than the archers, replace that with crossbows, for example, and then you probably win that fight. And the Manjaniques did a lot of, like, they did a ton of damage on the crossbowmen from the Templars. So overall, could have swung a little bit different. But yeah, first game going to Downfall, making it 1-0 here right now. And just so many more resources here for the Templars. So really strong economy, even though he was only on 1 TC. That's very interesting. Like, Knights
He added
Templar
a
are strong.
second TC in
Oh yeah,
a
that's true.
little bit later in the game, but if you take a look at it, to me, the stark difference is in the gold. 22,000 gold for Downfall, 12,000 for Papercut, despite the fact that Papercut had 4 relics,
Mm.
right? Which primarily generate gold. So the Knights Templar, the Pilgrim mechanic, really kind of, boosting Downfall's gold resources right
Mm.
there, which allowed him to invest in Templar Brothers, which allowed him to invest in crossbowmen, and sort of have this really rich military comp, whereas Papercut didn't have the gold income to support both crossbows and lancers, and I think that's why you saw him come out with base archers, is because that's what his economy could support. He wasn't able to generate the same amount of gold that Downfall could.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably it, and you're gonna see the gold trickle here from the pilgrims every time they hit the sacred sites.